If you've ever made a bad decision, don't worry, you're not alone. Throughout history, some of the most powerful people and influential figures have made decisions so disastrous that they led to hundreds of thousands of deaths, the loss of enormous amounts of money, and even the destruction of entire ecosystems, breaking the natural food chain itself. Did I get your attention? Stay until the end to discover the 5 worst decisions ever made in history. Spoiler alert, yes, I promise, this will be not boring at all. Napoleon's invasion of Russia. In 1812, Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte was the most powerful leader in Europe, basically the final boss. He had conquered almost everything there was to conquer, and one day, probably while sipping his coffee, he thought, let's invade Russia. What could possibly go wrong? So he did. Napoleon marched into Russia with over 600,000 soldiers, the largest army the world had ever seen at that time. The plan was simple. I have the biggest army. I crush everything. I conquer, and I leave. But the Russians had a very different plan. They didn't fight. They retreated, and not only that, they burned everything behind them, leaving the French with nothing but ashes, basically saying, here you go, enjoy. The only major battle was at Borodino, extremely brutal and incredibly bloody. Napoleon technically won, but once again, the Russians retreated. Eventually, Napoleon reached Moscow, and what did he find? An empty city, on fire. Frustrated, exhausted, and confused after weeks of waiting, Napoleon finally decided to retreat in October. And that's when things truly went wrong. The Russian winter, starvation, exhaustion, and constant attacks slowly wiped out the French army, soldier by soldier. Out of the massive force that entered Russia, only about 120,000 made it back. Conclusion? No matter how smart or powerful you think you are, never rush headfirst into the Russian winter. It will kill you. The Treaty of Versailles, 1919. After World War I, the world was exhausted, millions dead, Europe in ruins, and everyone just wanted one thing, peace. So, European leaders gathered at Versailles with what they thought was a brilliant idea. Let's make peace by punishing Germany. Germany was declared guilty for everything that had happened, and as a gift, they got an all-inclusive punishment package. Loss of territory, a drastically reduced army, massive reparations, and a bonus, national humiliation. Basically, this treaty wasn't really about peace. It was more like, never forget what you've done. Germany's economy was shattered. Inflation skyrocketed. People were so desperate they were hauling wheelbarrows of cash just to buy bread. The population was furious, desperate, and humiliated. What the Europeans didn't realize was that this kind of peace often breeds revenge. And in this environment, a small man with a mustache appeared, promising to restore national pride and fix what others had broken. From there, well, history took a dark turn. The sale of Alaska. Let's go back to Russia. After the Napoleon disaster, you'd think the Russians got smarter. Well, not really. In 1867, Russia had a serious problem. They were broke. Weakened after the Crimean War, they had a territory they couldn't defend, far away, freezing, and seemingly useless. Alaska. So, Russia looked at Alaska and said, we don't need this giant frozen wasteland. Let's sell it. The buyer, the United States of America. The price, $7.2 million, roughly 2 cents an acre. At the time, many laughed at the Americans for buying a snowy wasteland full of bears. But that was just the surface. What the Russians didn't know was that Alaska held huge reserves of oil, gold, natural gas, and an extremely strategic position for the US. In other words, Russia sold one of the richest regions on Earth for a price that today wouldn't even buy a decent apartment in New York. So, do you think the Russians made a bad decision? The Titanic, unsinkable, and it sank. In 1912, the Titanic was the largest and most luxurious ship ever built. The press called it practically unsinkable. But in history, whenever something is labeled impossible, consider it a red flag. On April 10th, 1912, the Titanic set off on its first and last voyage. Everything was designed to impress. Luxury, opulence, speed, safety, not so much. During the journey, the ship received multiple iceberg warnings from nearby vessels. The response? Keep going. We're the best. Let them worry about their little lifeboats. Visibility was near zero due to fog, but the Titanic pushed full speed ahead. And here's the kicker. The ship only had lifeboats for less than half the passengers. On April 14th, the Titanic hit an iceberg. The result? You know it already. Over 1,500 lives lost. The ironic part? This disaster changed maritime rules forever, leading to better safety measures and lifeboat regulations. Australia. Rabbits are cute, right? In the 19th century, Australia was a vast land full of space and its native marsupial. European settlers arrived and thought, let's bring some animals. What could possibly go wrong? The animals they brought included rabbits, for hunting cats, as pets foxes, and honestly, we're not sure why. At first, everything seemed fine. The rabbits were cute, the cats and foxes kept people company. What could go wrong? Well, Australia had no natural predators for rabbits. The result? Rabbits multiplied out of control. Cats began hunting native species. Foxes caused chaos. In just a few years, the entire ecosystem was disrupted. Birds, animals, and plant species vanished. A full-blown ecological disaster. All from a decision that seemed harmless. Welcome to the Rabbit Empire. And here we are at the end. If you've had a rough day or made a decision that didn't turn out well, just look back at some of the catastrophic choices people made before you. Don't make the bad decision of leaving without subscribing and smashing that like button. It really helps me out. And who said history has to be boring?